All right, hello, Weekend Warriors. Welcome to a double feature episode of Weekend Dojo. Sorry I was not here yesterday. I was at Busch Gardens, so we have delayed our show. The video to what I was doing yesterday is on my channel. Now back to this. I'm joined here yet again with elchizzo Reviews.
What's up, Weekend Warriors?
And we are talking tonight. We are burdening ourselves and you, maybe the enjoyment of you, with talking about the worst movie ever made. And what movie is that, elchizzo?
The Room.
Yes, Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Where do we begin with this monstrosity of a film? Well, it is written, directed, produced, and stars Tommy Wiseau.
It's essentially just about a feature-length Tommy Weiss stroking his own ego.
Yeah, the weird thing about this film is it's literally the worst film ever made. But for some reason, it's still provocatively entertaining, while yet still maintaining a cult following. Would you like to give an example of how bad this movie is before we go into the plot of, or what is a plot of the movie?
Let's just say Tommy Weiss seems to consider himself to be more multi-talented than he actually is.
When he made this movie, does he actually think it's a good movie?
I honestly can't tell if he made it because he thought it was good or if he made it because he was hoping to make some quick cash.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, to get into this movie, we start out with just a bunch of shots of New York. Or no, it was San Francisco. I'm going to go with San Francisco, given look at it. Well, we get some shots of a city, and it starts off with like credits, and it says written by Tommy Wiseau, directed by Tommy Wiseau, produced by Tommy Wiseau everywhere. And then it opens with Tommy Wiseau going into his house, and then we're introduced to his wife, or not his wife, his girlfriend Lisa, in which they just start talking, and then this boy comes in who happens to be a part of their apartment, and it gets really awkward every time that boy's involved in a conversation, because it just seems like he's getting involved in their sex life, like he's there. And after that, it goes into some weird montage of just like, and the way it's acted out, you can tell they're not really doing it. Because he's down
a
here,
mile away,
humping.
He's a mile off target.
It's way off target. And then the boy decides to come in on them, and it turns out they're just pillow playing. And it gets really awkward in there, and they show it off like it's nothing. Then it just somehow just cuts to the next day, and Tommy's not quite suspicious of it yet, but Lisa's cheating on him with his friend Mark. And Mark's not really catching on to it yet. He's very slow to catch on to it. So this movie's just really way out of the place, so it's really hard to even give a standard
the plot, if you can call it that, is slapdash and lazy. The dialogue is forced to the point where it hurts to sit down watching this movie. And Tommy Wiseau's voice, I'm sure it's not his fault. The man was not destined to be famous for his voice, or if he was destined to be famous for his voice, it wasn't because he was going to be a singer. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favorite scenes in that movie is if just for how bad it is. You remember when he goes into the shop to buy flowers?
Mm-hmm.
He goes into a shop and then he has his glasses on, takes it off, and the shop clerk says, Tommy, I didn't see you there." And he's like, "Oh, hello." But it's either the dialogue of it is either too off by a few seconds, or it's rushed before it should be said. And like for example, he says, or he passes them money, says, "Keep the change, bye," and then pets the doggy, "Hello, doggy," and walks off. But it's just it's so
there was no
rushed.
point to it.
There's
It was
no
rushed, and there was no point to it. It
It's
was like
extremely unrealistic in every sense of the word.
there's so many scenes that just don't serve a purpose, right?
Right.
So many interactions that add nothing to the story.
Exactly. Apparently there's a scene where Lisa says he hit her, and then you see that this is probably the most iconic scene from it, but you see him, you hear Tommy coming up the stairs of the apartment saying, "I did not hit her. I did not hit her. This is bull blank. I did not hit her. Oh, hi. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark." But it just, and then he just goes into some casual conversation. He tosses a water bottle. Heck, here's actually a running joke. That water bottle was the best actor of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into just them talking about his girlfriend Lisa. Then the kid who came out of nowhere earlier goes in and confesses to Tommy that he says he's in love with Lisa, and then Tommy just laughs. And he's like, and it's like really fake creepy laughing. And then he says, "It's okay. You'll find your person," or whatever. And then again, another scene that just doesn't add up. Can you carry on from here? Because I'm having a hard time explaining this crap.
Okay, I'm just gonna be real brief. That's this movie. It's like, okay, when he wrote this, I swear to God, he might have been trying to. I think he might have been drunk while watching a soap opera.
It felt like a bad soap opera, like the worst. Even the worst on TV is better than this crap.
Which leads me to believe that either he really was trying to, either he really didn't care and just wanted to make a buck, or he was really rushed for some kind of script.
Yeah, it could be anything.
And I think what might have been happening is he must have just been flipping through soap operas, picking out lines that he thought worked.
Mm-hmm. Also, for the record, just for time, I think we're gonna discuss just various bad movies in general that we can think of for the next hour and a half or 2 hours, and then we'll have a small break before we go into Tokusatsu.
Well, how about we just go for an hour?
Yep.
And then work from there. Sorry.
Sounds good. Okay. I want you. What is you choose a bad movie now to talk about? And while you bring it up, I need to go get my dinner because I was texted that it's ready.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Bad movies. Well, you guys already know my opinion on Michael Bay's movies. Probably shouldn't poke fun at that because I've driven that one into the ground. A legitimately bad movie. I guess really, it's not a bad movie, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. Is Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. It's just it's a great big ham-filled cheese ball of a movie.
Which movie?
So I was saying this isn't really a bad movie, but it's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Which one?
Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
Tell me about it. Pitch to me. I've not seen this one.
Okay, so to start off, you have to first be aware of the band Tenacious D.
Okay.
It is a two-person band. They're both guitarists. The lead vocals is Jack Black, and the lead guitarist is Kyle Gass.
Ooh, okay. It's a Jack Black movie, huh?
It was one of Jack Black. It's based on Jack Black's first works on TV.
Oh.
If you can look them up. Just look up Tenacious D HBO on HBO or something, and you'll find them. And it's just two idiots in a band who are out there having adventures and trying, and living happy with less.
Okay.
And this song is kind of about, or this movie is kind of about them taking a bunch of their old songs and using them as inspiration for how the band came together.
Mm-hmm.
So you see Jack Black as a kid in a town called Kickapoo. He lived with a humble family, religious through and through, but there was a black sheep and he knew just what to do. His name was young JB and he refused to step in line. A vision he did see of effing rockin' all the time. He wrote a tasty jam and all the planets did align, and then it gets real crude.
Okay.
And I don't feel comfortable saying it on video here, but it's one of those kinds of, it's comedy rock, essentially, is what it is.
Okay.
So, he plays this really crude rock and roll song in this really religious house. His dad hauls him up to his room and whips him with the belt and starts tearing down all his rock posters, and all that's left was the Dio poster that he missed on the back of the door. So you see him like praying to Dio to show him the way to being a rock and roll star. And they actually got Ronnie James Dio to play himself in the poster. And he just tells JB, and it's like, look, go to Hollywood, in the city of fallen angels where the ocean meets the sand, you will form a strong alliance in the world's most awesome band. And so he runs away and
done like a Holy Grail type rhyme.
Actually, there's a lot of songs in it, but it's funny you mention the Holy Grail. This is called the Pick of Destiny for a reason. Now, follow me. There's a montage of him taking buses all around America to different Hollywoods and ends up in the one in LA.
Okay.
And ends up in Venice Beach, where he meets a man, a portly man with long hair, playing on the catwalk.
Mm-hmm.
And to JB, who's still only got his cheap little Sears and Roebuck acoustic guitar that he's written Monster Mash on the body.
Yeah.
Thinks that this guy is the greatest guitarist ever. And this guitarist is a little annoyed by the attention that JB has given him now. And so, eventually JB intervenes and they play an old they play a very well-known Tenacious D song, Classico.
Mm-hmm.
Which is Johann Sebastian Bach's Buré in E minor, with JB singing some of the notes. And I recommend you go look up this band if you've never listened to them. I don't know how you haven't.
I'm sure I have. I just didn't know the name.
Anyway, Kyle, the pizza guy from Wake and Bake Pizza, thinks they should ask them what the name of their band is, and Kyle Gass is like, we're not in a band. They call me KG Solo Man 5000, and I aims to keep it that way. And flicks his pick at JB. And he sees it's my favorite kind of pick too, a triangular pick. I don't have any to show you. Oh, here we go. I've got picks literally everywhere. It's essentially shaped like this, but it's got Kyle Gass's initials on it.
Oh, can I choose the next bad movie?
Let me just finish the synopsis here. Anyway, JB ends up thinking that Kyle Gass saved him, moves into his cheap pay-by-the-week apartment, realizes Kyle Gass is not the genius he claims to be, and that he's been living off of his parents' money to pay rent. And so now they have to go to an open mic contest to earn a check for rent. And they're trying to figure out what it was that all these old musicians had that gave them their talent. And they look down at all these magazine covers, and they're all using this same green pick. Even if the picture's in black and white, the pick's green.
Yeah.
And it's like looks kind of weird, and it's got horns on it. And they're like, oh, that must be the secret. So they go to Guitar Center looking for a pick, and it's there that the mysterious clerk reveals to them the secret of the pick of destiny made from the devil's tooth. And so they go on a quest for it to the Rock and Roll History Museum in Sacramento. Anyway, that's the whole story. There's all kinds of fun, goofy songs sprinkled intermittently, some from their previous work, some that are new. I've actually heard that there's a new Tenacious D movie coming out in October.
Ooh.
So this will make their fourth album and fourth movie, because they had their first album, which inspired their works for their TV show. Then they had Tenacious D, Pick of Destiny, which weirdly failed at the box office, but got a huge cult following. Then they had Rise of the Phoenix, which was them kind of trying to come back after that failure. And then there's a supposed new movie coming out, which will have its own soundtrack.
Yeah.
And like I said, the movie itself is just goofy, full of plot holes. It's really just the kind of movie you turn your brain off and just laugh at stupid jokes with.
Yeah. All right. So how about we go? All right. This one's a guilty pleasure of mine, and I can admit it's really bad, but at the same time, just really hilarious. Have you ever seen Matthew Broderick's Inspector Gadget?
The live-action one?
Yes.
I've seen it.
All right, let's go into that one. So we open up with the opening credits, and it starts off really good, like it's going to be true to the source, because it has the opening credits, all the gears and stuff spinning around with the original theme song playing, nothing modified to it at all. And so it starts off giving you the impression that this is going to be the best adaptation of anything ever done before. Because the classic theme song playing, everything's pretty accurate to what it is. And then we start off with a bus driving that somehow goes off track. All these things go wrong, and then you see Officer Brown come in, save the day, only to find out that it's a daydream he's having. And then he goes to work. It turns out he's a security guard in this parking lot, and where he's a security guard trying to be a police officer, training to be a police officer. What just happens to be going on at the same time is Dr. Claw, or who will be Dr. Claw, and his henchman Sykes are on their latest criminal spree, trying to steal this robotic foot from a local scientist, and thus killing him also. And Officer Brown goes on, is notified of it and rushes to his car, even though he's not really an officer, or enough of an officer to be doing what he's doing. So he just takes a police car, puts a siren on it, and starts running for Dr. Claw. Ends up crashing into a Yahoo sign, thus getting destroyed in the damage. And he wakes up in a hospital where there's a bunch of like gears and random crap just being shoved into his body, and he's been turned into a cyborg, which is going to be used by the police as a new, pretty much a RoboCop ripoff called Inspector Gadget.
Pretty much, yeah. And they reveal to him how to activate all of his gizmos,
Yes.
all of his gadgets. I had to say the magical phrase "Go Go Gadget" before he says the name of the device he wants to use. And so he thinks, okay, how about Go Go Gadget Water Slink? And for some reason they decided
toothpaste. Yeah. And but what about that one scene that really questions if it's really a kids movie or not? When he's trying out his new abilities, but he's training with the monk. And he's like, reach for the mouse. So he reaches for it, but he goes off target and goes straight for his pelvis.
I remember this.
And then the badly CGI'd eyes popping out cartoonism thing.
The sad part is we thought that looked real back in the day.
Oh, I remember that too. That was sad. And what's funny is I always laughed at that scene. Like, I mean, I still laugh at it, but I don't laugh at it as much as I did when I was like, yeah, I was 4 when that first came out, because I got it on VHS when it first came out, and I still have the VHS. So after that, after training and all that, he's sent on his first mission, like assignment, which the police chief really is not a fan of this whole idea, so he just has him doing like cheap stuff like rescuing kittens and doing public service. And he's eventually decommissioned and decides to raid Dr. Claw on his own. After that, he's pretty much dismantled by Dr. Claw, and you turn into scraps, and then Dr. Claw makes his own gadget called Robo Gadget, which is pretty much a more Italian mafia-ish parody done with a very fake-ish, plastic-looking Matthew Broderick. So he decides to go on he's let free to go on a terror reign to destroy the city and all that, and decides to make a Godzilla reference for some reason by with shadow puppets and breathing fire. And somehow by the power of love, Gadget is restored by his niece and the girl that he's in love with, despite the fact that the thing that was obviously stated from the beginning that was keeping him alive was removed. And so after that, he's repaired and gets into his gadget car.
The Gadget-mobile?
The Gadget-mobile, yeah. The Gadget-mobile. Another ripoff of another thing. And decides to go fight Robo Gadget. And what does that result into? A slapstick comedy fight of pulling down each other's shorts and climbing over each other. And it ends with them on top of the Brooklyn Bridge just hanging there, and Robo Gadget decides to release a tarantula out of his mouth that crawls up onto Inspector Gadget, and they fall down. Robo Gadget gets beheaded, and apparently that's perfect timing for a bad pun. So he's holding his head, and the head says, hey, we don't have to be this way. We kind of ruled the world. And then Gadget's response is, you thought of that when you were ahead. And then he looks at the screen and winks and throws it.
That is the lowest form of humor.
It is. It really is. And then it goes into some bad joke about Dr. Claw and the girl that he has captured saying, I liked you better when you were fat, So he says, "Bring on the Twinkies."
Okay, so this particular movie represents an era in cinema and comedy when they tried to make the squash and stretch aspect of old cartoons meet real life through the use of CGI. And the
And
problem is they tried to use the slapstick comedy to that effect, and what it does is it takes away from the actual comedy going on because they're trying to present a, a story that warrants a movie length film.
mhm.
But the thing is that if it has a story, it can't be a physical comedy. If it has
Right.
too much of a plot, I mean.
Yes. Something like Inspector Gadget can be done, but just for the simple fact of how each plot of each episode goes, the best way to do it is something like what the Tick was done, where they revived it as a live action show, where it was still able to fit within those TV show length episodes, story-wise. Whereas you're taking a show that kind of relies on stupid humor but still has a plot, and condensing it to a 2-hour length in live action, be it that based on a cartoon, it doesn't work. It pretty much just turns into a bad cheese fest. Usually, if you're gonna do something like that, where you're taking the big screen, keep it
Yeah.
animated. Keep it animated. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, the very first one from 2004.
Yeah.
That is an example of how to make a movie out of a cartoon.
And I think because of the absurdity of a SpongeBob SquarePants related topic, they were able to get away with some cheesier stuff.
Yes. But with Inspector Gadget...
Now, not to say Inspector Gadget isn't a cheesy cartoon.
Oh, it is.
But they tried to make the whole movie live action, whereas with SpongeBob SquarePants, they had already established that outside of the ocean is three-dimensional.
Yes. And that was smart. That's how they were able to pull it off. The fact that inside the ocean, it was animated, while above, it was real life. But at the same time, when the characters were present above the ocean, they were able to still be cartoon. And how they explained that was like the fish that were dead were presented in a real life medium, but when they got revived from the water in Shell City, they turned back to their animated self. Which I think is a reason why Who Framed Roger Rabbit is still one of the best live action cartoon based movies.
And I have to agree with you there, because again, it implies that the toons and the live action people live alongside each other, which I think now really it's been done too many times by now. SpongeBob has their own way of doing it, but too many people have tried to rip off Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And the reason it works is because you've got the cartoons who are naturally just goofy and naive, and they frolic and they prank each other, interacting with the serious human world. With this, what they decided to do was say, okay, they're 3D, but they're cartoons.
Yeah. Doesn't work out well.
Yeah.
Now, back to this, where I left off with Claw. Basically, Inspector Gadget goes up with his iconic copter thing, which is still CG in itself. That we're talking like lower than Transformers Beast Wars type CG animation.
Yeah. Hey, but we all still love Transformers Beast Wars.
Yes, Beast Wars was good. Still is good.
I recommend the Japanese shows as well. But yes, This was a
And then, so Go-Go Gadget, or Spectre Gadget, goes up there with his helicopter, manages to beat Dr. Claw by destroying his copter, and he falls out and somehow just directly falls into, happens to be right above the Gadget Mobile, falls right into it, and then the jail thing comes over.
Yeah.
So that was just convenient in itself. The Gadget's helicopter thing broke after a shot from the helicopter, and so he fell, captured the girl, and injected a parachute, Go Gadget parachute. And then he ends up bonking into a statue of Claw, thus falling down. Therefore, Day is saved. He gets the girl. Claw goes to jail. Happy ending. Now, there was something interesting. When they were... You remember the dog? I can't remember the dog's name. Was it... do you remember Inspector Gadget's dog's name? It's been too long. But anyways, at the end, during a post-credit scene, they gave him a voice caller, and it was the voice of the original Inspector Gadget from the cartoon, doing the voice of the dog.
Oh. See, now that's cheap, okay? Trying to win us back by making that cameo.
Yeah. But here's what, and funnier thing. One of the post-credit scenes involved Sykes, who was henchman at Henchman Rehab, which is like a rehab for people who were evil henchmen to supervillains before.
There was a whole thing in actually the early 2000s, well, throughout the 2000s, about trying to revive old cartoons as live-action movies. And oh man, and they were all really kind of awful.
What about Looney Tunes Back in Action?
Oh no. No, I told you, it's the Queen of Diamonds.
You gotta admit that movie's at least a guilty pleasure.
I hated that film.
From the beginning when you first saw it? I got a good kick out of the Vegas scene.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, but okay, look, Rocky and Bullwinkle was better than that movie, okay?
Yeah, well, I can agree with that. What about Underdog?
Ugh.
Yeah. All right.
Again, trying to put a story to something that doesn't need a story. Underdog doesn't need a backstory. He's just a dumbass superhero. It's like Hong Kong Phooey. You don't mess with it.
Right.
And don't make a Hong Kong Phooey movie now that I said it.
Well, thank God we're not big enough to have Hollywood people watching our shit.
Yeah.
All right, you get to choose now.
Okay. Next guilty, like, this is kind of a guilty pleasure movie, but I think everyone's seen it by now, and I think everyone likes it. It's again one of those huge, kind of. It's admittedly bad, but it's got a great cult following. Movies. Austin Powers.
Yes. Yes. Shall we go through the whole trilogy?
Let me just give you the synopsis of what the breakdown of what Austin Powers is. He is a 60s sex icon who is also an international man of mystery. That means he's a spy and secret agent. He's got nasty teeth. He wears thick-framed square glasses.
Yeah, for some odd reason, he has a... Did you ever notice that he actually has a double male necklace, regardless of the fact that he's straight?
Well, sometimes he does just wear the male necklace.
Okay, but there's one point he had a double male necklace. I don't know if that was just put in there as a side joke, but...
It could have been a joke. I'm not sure. I think they were just trying to, like, come up with different outfits for him, and they probably sent the prop department out, just like, look, get a necklace with the male symbol on it. And they probably just like, okay, I'm gonna grab whatever they have.
Yeah. But let's be honest. Who's your favorite Austin Powers character that was conceived out of that movie
Outside of Austin.
outside of Austin?
Oh man, I like Frau. Frau
Frau,
is
the Doctor Evil's wife.
well, not wife, but yes, Doctor Evil's son is revealed to be actually the biological son of both Doctor Evil and Frau Farbishna, I believe her
Yeah,
name is.
the German lady who yells a lot, right?
Unnecessarily so, yes.
Yes. Oh, what do you remember in the first movie, the leprechaun, the Irish guy,
Scottish?
the Scottish guy, and they snuck in a leprechaun, a Lucky Charms joke.
Oh no, yeah, he was Irish.
Yeah, they snuck in a Lucky Charms joke, and then he didn't get it at all, and he was just
Yeah,
standing there with a stern look on his face.
it's, they're always after me, Lucky Charms.
And then people just start laughing.
And he'd never seen the commercial, and the charms on his bracelet look like the cereal, and it's dumb, and I laugh, because they point out how awkward the situation is, and how Dr. Evil's organization is kind of run just like an office building.
Pretty much. What about Fat Bastard?
Oh yeah, this is another Mike Myers character, okay? He weighs a metric ton, and he's a disgruntled Scottish guard, and he'll eat pretty much anything. It's just it's bad. Like, he even threatens to eat a clone of Dr. Evil.
Yeah. It's hilariously bad though. I mean, he starts off as like a Scottish guard who the government trusts with guarding it was Austin's Mojo, right?
It was the frozen body of Austin Powers, from which Fat Bastard stole the mojo.
Yeah, because he Doctor Evil went back in time and hired him, right? With the time machine.
Yes. No, it's time machine.
Yeah, time machine.
No, you're not. It's time machine.
Oh, okay. But anyways, yeah, he hired Fat Bastard to steal Austin's mojo. So Fat Bastard went acting as a guard. Well, I mean, he was obviously already a guard, but he has no moral standards of who he works for. So, given he was paid a lot of money, he turned on his guards and went for the mojo. Got it, gave it to Dr. Evil, and in present day, Austin's getting it on with his girl of the day, and
well, actually, no, that was his wife from the first movie.
Oh yeah, that is right. That was
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was another spy sent by Dr. Evil. Her name was Ivana Humpalot.
Oh yes.
Okay, running theme in Austin Powers movies is there's always one girl who has a ridiculous sexual innuendo name. In Goldfinger, it was two.
Fook you and Fook me?
Yes, and in the first one, it was Alata. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'm above this. I'm above this. Good day.
Oh yes, and he's using his charm. The girl who was sent to kill him by Dr. Evil ended up falling for him. So they're getting it on, and then due to time travel crap, he can't. He's lost the ability to have sex.
He's lost his mojo.
Yes, so
he goes. They send him back to the '60s so that he can recharge. Apparently, that's how it works.
It wasn't his. What was his? Wasn't his time machine like a a new card that had like the British flag on it still
Every time they give him a new time machine, he gets a car.
with a British flag.
Well, no, that's just his standard Shagwar.
Yeah.
In Spy Who Shagged Me, it was a bug painted with tie dye.
Right. Yep, it was a bug.
And in Goldfinger, it was his pimp mobile.
Also, funny you mentioned Goldfinger. Remember, turns out that fat bastard went on the Subway diet.
Oh yeah, it was a reference to Jared from Subway.
I didn't catch that until you just mentioned it actually. But yeah, then like Fat Bastard has all this saggy skin on him. It just looks ridiculously terrible. And then even funnier, they're in a theater watching a remake of Austin Powers Adventures with Tom Cruise as Austin Powers, Danny DeVito.
Because Steven Spielberg friggin' directed it, yes.
Wasn't that what the opening credits of Goldfinger of Austin Powers and Goldmember was? Was him running through the set of them filming it?
Yes. It's describing how you have to have mojo.
Uh-huh. Yes, I definitely agree. Austin Powers is a bad series as far as movie making goes, but it's hilarious. It's meant to be. It's charmed at being good because it's a bad comedy. I'm gonna as far as bad movies go, I'm not gonna focus on new ones because if we were, I'd have to do the Emoji Movie, and I was forced to watch that film, and it is not worth talking about in any way.
So how about we just go right into Tokusatsu for the evening then?
All right. Well, we have plenty of time to then. Did you watch War of the Gargantuas?
I did.
All right. Shall we go into it then? Tokusatsu now. We are starting a little early. After we do War of the Gargantuas, we'll just talk about various other things for a good hour to fill up until 9.
Well, why don't we just run till 8?
Okay, sounds good, and then we can do plan stuff afterwards. All right. So tonight we are for Tokusatsu. We will be talking about a film called War of the Gargantuas, which is a sequel to a Toho film called Frankenstein Conquers the World. Have you seen that?
I actually have not seen that one.
Okay. Well, this one you don't need to watch Frankenstein Conquers the World to watch Gargantuas. I assume you understood the movie on itself, right?
Yeah, by itself it makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Now, before we get into the film itself, I do want to cover an interesting fun fact based off of recent knowledge. I did mention this in a previous stream, Tokusatsu, when I had Titan Goji on as my guest when we discussed the Attack on Titan films. War of the Gargantuas is a part of a series which started with Frankenstein Conquers the World, and after War of the Gargantuas, interestingly enough, this is never officially straight up said, like never officially confirmed by Toho, but during a con at G-Fest, Titan Goji got to meet the director of the Attack on Titan films, Shinji Higuchi, who is also a huge fan of War of the Gargantuas, and he asked, due to a lot of popular fan theories among the Toho fan monster or kaiju fandom, is it safe to say that Attack on Titan is officially a sequel? The live action films are officially a sequel to War of the Gargantuas and Frankenstein Conquers the World. Shinji Higuchi replies, and I quote, "I'm not allowed to say."
I see.
And further to confirm this theory being real, when they were making the film, Isayama made a new script for the films due to not being able to correctly make an accurate version of the anime due to it being more European influenced, and the fact that Isayama got a lot of inspiration from War of the Gargantuas when making Attack on Titan as a manga. This just further confirms the theory of the live-action movies being set in the Gargantua's universe.
Yep, yeah, that would be interesting to see that come out.
I will after the stream, I will show you the fan edit that somebody did using his knowledge and connecting it all together. But let's get into War of the Gargantuas. Would you like to do the honors of giving us the synopsis of the movie and breakdown?
Well, essentially, the synopsis of this is a group of scientists in America had found an unusually large species of ape that they raised and believed to be a peaceful creature. After previous events that are not mentioned, this creature that they raised, known as Gargantua, disappears, and a sailor is attacked by a creature that matches the profile of this Gargantua.
Mm-hmm.
However, this creature is much more violent in behavior. So the rundown is they found that Gargantua's cells can they can pull a starfish.
Yeah.
And essentially make a brand new Gargantua. In this case, it made a green Gargantua.
Mm-hmm.
Who was much more violent. And they did find that the brown Gargantua, or the closest thing to the original, had survived and retained the peaceful properties that they remembered.
Right.
It goes back and forth to them using one to try to lure the other out, and the typical government blow them both up excuse.
Yeah.
It's a very good movie, but it's only for those who are really into the old monster movies.
Yes, if you really have to tolerate or be really into the special effects of that time period. No, this was made in 1966.
So it's going to be a lot like some of the old Godzilla films.
Though, for the record, the dubbing of it is pretty spot on. It's kind of hard to tell throughout most of the movie where it goes off.
Yeah, it does, actually.
So I'd say as far as dubbing goes, you should be fine, and you won't find it cringy unless you're one of those people that can definitely tell the voice of a person based off their ethnicity. But as far as the film goes itself, storytelling wise, it is a pretty good monster movie. I think you will enjoy it for at least for the storytelling, and if you're into tokusatsu and old monster movie special effects, you will enjoy it for that as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely, well, it contains every single trope of the classic monster movie. It's one of those things that you set up in a line with a bunch of others that you decide to, okay, I'm going to make a big ass bowl of popcorn and I'm going to get a friggin' 2-liter glass of, of ice cold carbonated sugar water, high fructose corn syrup and all. And I am going to just binge a whole hell load of giant monster movies. And War of the Gargantuas, I would say, would be a good fluffer thing, something to pad it out, to pad out your movie marathon.
Now, interesting, I did not know this until I read this recently, but do you remember the tokusatsu Red Man? It was like a dark hero who was kind of like a knockoff for Ultraman in a way, but he fought giant monsters also.
I don't believe I do.
Well, let me look him up, because apparently Red Man or the Orange Gargantua appeared in another tokusatsu. I think I'm remembering this correctly. One second. Orange Gargantua versus I remember seeing this somewhere. I can't find it right now, but the orange gargantua has appeared in another kaiju-based show or movie. I can't remember which it was, but it did appear as like an enemy. I don't know if it was just a reused suit or an alternate take on the character, but I saw an image of it somewhere, and it wasn't photoshopped or anything. It was just a screenshot.
Okay. As long as we're on the subject, let's just to fill this out, let's pick the lineup for our tokusatsu movie marathon of choice.
Okay.
We'll include snacks and everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In fact, we can actually do this. We could like do a stream of. This is a good idea because on Internet Archive they have a whole list of tokusatsu kaiju films that you like. Remember the link I sent you?
Yeah.
That the user has uploaded a whole list of them. You can watch directly from that, and there's no pop-ups on Internet Archive because Internet Archive is pretty much a open source website. And what we can do is not necessarily stream, like show what's on our screen because of copyright, obviously, but
what we could do is encourage the audience to watch along with us.
Yes, and then we'll be just watching it, eating, and just doing commentary while the audience watches along.
Okay, let's bring up like Notepad or something so we can pick our lineup.
Okay, let me get some paper.
Now let's see, what would be the first one to put on this lineup for tokusatsu, especially old movies?
Do you want me to pull up the website also, so that way I know what all is on there?
Yeah, if I say a name that isn't on there, just let me know.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm just getting a pencil. This pen will do. All right, let me pull up my phone. Go to Internet Archive. All right, name a movie.
Well, how about we start off with a good Godzilla film? My personal favorite to start off with, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. We're not necessarily doing these in chronological order, just at the point where they feel right.
Yep, that is on there.
Alrighty. Oh, before we start picking movies, what snacks should we have for? You know what? Let's do a Twitter poll. If you haven't followed us, go to weekend_dojo on Twitter. It's all lowercase. Mm-hmm. And shoot suggestions at us for a giant monster movie marathon. What kind of snacks should we have?
Note for me, it'll have to be what I have because I have a diet where I eat only certain foods at certain times of the day, depending on.
I understand.
So for me, it may be a little different from yours, and I may it may just apply to you, and I just get whatever I have in my kitchen.
Okay, well that'll work out. So yeah, just tweet at us what you would like what kind of snacks do you think would go well with Tokusatsu, a giant monster movie marathon.
Yes. All right.
So starting off, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. Now, what follows that pretty well?
Storyline wise, or just in terms of like moving on to another good movie?
Moving on to another good movie. We're not necessarily following chronological order or any kind of.
What about Mothra?
Mothra's a good one. Mothra is a good solid start.
All right. What else can we do?
Well,
Gamera?
Yeah, let's do a Gamera film. How about Gamera versus Monster X?
All right. Let
not
me see if
Monster
they
X.
have this on here. Actually, we'll just we'll see about what they have on here later. We'll name movies right now.
What do you think? What should you just throw a suggestion out there? Good old monster movies.
There is one I heard of that seems to have a lot of similarities to Top Gun. It's called Ultraman: The Next.
The Next, yeah.
I that came out in 2004. I saw a trailer for it, and it seemed to use music for. It had a lot of music in it that was very reminiscent to Top Gun, and it had, weirdly enough, it involved a pilot who flew an F-14. Ultraman: The Next.
Well, if we're doing Ultraman, how about we follow that with another Ultraman-like movie?
How about like superhero?
Just like one that has a few more gadgets in it that
How about
like
Kamen Rider the first? We could do Kamen Rider first and Kamen Rider the next, and as a double feature.
What about Kamen Rider J?
Ooh,
is that
okay.
on there?
Kamen Rider J. I'd like to add Kamen Rider the first next to that list too, if you're okay with that.
Sure, I'm down with it. I like a good horror flick.
Okay. Well, the first is not a horror; it's more of a drama. The second one's the next.
Yeah, the second one's more of a horror.
I assume you've seen both.
I have.
All right.
They took some weird creative license with it, but I guess it turned out all right.
Yeah, I'd say so. All right. Hey, you guys want to do Pulgasori?
What?
Pulgasori?
Pulgasori.
Pulgasori is the one that has the weird. Pulgasori is basically a North Korean kaiju film about the people creating a giant monster to help them fight up against a tyrannical government of which enslaves them. Which is kind of ironic given that it's made as a North Korean film. But
yeah, let's not watch any propaganda films.
Well, it isn't propaganda. It's the complete reverse, actually.
I still say let's avoid it just for now.
Okay.
I'll
let you.
That's kind of a hot button issue.
I recommend you read up on it. So you sound like you've never heard of it.
I have not. I'll probably read up on it. It's probably something important to recognize. But let's say if we want to do like if we're moving outside of
the main ones,
how about we try to hunt up an Armored Hero Emperor movie?
Okay, Armored Hero movie. You ever heard of The Host?
No.
Apparently, it's a South Korean sort of South Korean kaiju movie mixed with horror of it. I'd have to find it, but we can maybe add that to the list as a possibility.
Okay.
Pacific Rim?
I guess to Pacific Rim? Nah.
Yeah, that's a little too new.
Well, it's not that it's new, it's just kind of boring.
Okay. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie?
Like, okay.
The 1995 one?
I know, the one with Ivan Ooze.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Believe it or not, that movie was my introduction into Power Rangers.
So you still like it as a guilty pleasure?
No, really. It's not that I like it as a guilty pleasure. I think it was an important part of what shaped my image of tokusatsu in the modern age.
Okay.
Because seeing it that compared to everything else, I realize that while it was my introduction, it definitely should not be the norm.
Right. Other tokusatsu.
Well, how about we do Ultra Monster Battle?
Okay, I've not heard of that one.
It's the one where they introduce Ultraman Zero.
Okay. How about Ultra Galaxy Legend also?
Yes.
Ultra Galaxy Legend. I'm trying to think of just many like outside of the main ones for the sake of giving new things that don't get that well appreciated the appreciation it deserves.
Yeah. Trouble is, there's
one I've heard of. Monstrosities, Tokusatsu vlogs and reviews got a figure from it. It was a Toho film about an 8-headed dragon.
Sounds familiar.
Hold on, let me look it up.
Let's see, what's another good film? Well, you know, how many movies do we have on there right now?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, well, that's think of mine. Those are all movie length. I think we have a good chunk of time dedicated there.
Yeah.
We might have to split this up into episodes. Yeah, we might have to split this up into 4 different episodes.
Okay.
Or we might even just do like this, make this the weekly thing, a commentary on movies. We'll turn the volume way down on our computers or wear headphones or something so that the audio doesn't get mixed in.
Right. Okay, it's called Orochi the 8-Headed Dragon.
Orochi or Orochi?
Orochi.
Orochi.
Orochi. The 8-Headed, and it's a Toho film.
Toho's always good. I think we've got pretty much a solid lineup set up for our movie marathon.
All right.
As far as snacks go, oh, you know what? Why don't we just talk about some of the Ultraman or the giant monster movie merchandise that we wish we had, just based on the films.
Okay.
I could really use a new EG scanner because the power switch on mine broke.
You have an EG scanner?
Like Dr. Egg?
I'm not familiar with it. Ultraman.
Do you know who? Okay. Do you know who Ultraman Nice is?
I have to look at a picture of him. Spell it.
Ultraman.
Ultraman.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I've seen an image of him before, I think.
He's an Ultraman that only exists in toy commercials. Disguised himself as Dr. Egg when the Ultra Eggs were released.
Let me guess. Is that why he's called Ultraman Nice? Like the word nice?
Yeah, and the shtick is that his family fights against monsters and collects toys. And he transforms by eating chocolate jelly beans out of his wristwatch.
So he only appeared in commercials?
Yeah. Dr. Egg is Ultraman Nice in disguise and created the EG scanner to unlock the powers of the Ultra Eggs.
So it's Dr. Egg?
Yeah, Dr. E period G period.
All right, E period G period G.
No, just E period G period.
Okay, I see it. So it's basically just Ultraman Nice in a lab coat then.
And goggles, yes.
Yeah.
and the egg scanner looks like Ultraman Nice's head.
Yeah, I see that.
I've been meaning to do an Ultra Egg special at some point. I've done a few Ultra Egg toys, but I need a new scanner.
Okay. So, where do you find these then? Usually, order them on
Hobby. You can get them in Hobby Link Japan. Big Bad Toy Store, I believe, has them.
Okay.
You can get them on Amazon and eBay, but make sure like you're buying from a legitimate store and not just a reseller.
Right.
And it's fun. It's just like eggs that transform into Kaiju and Ultraman.
Mm-hmm. So when do you want to start doing this marathon? Next Sunday? Maybe.
Yeah, why don't we just start making this like tokusatsu for a bit?
Okay, let's do that. So we'll start at
also, shout out to the tokusatsu chat on Anime Amino.
Yeah. Shout out to the Toku chat on Anime Amino. If anyone's watching is on Anime Amino. It's a private chat, isn't it?
I believe so, but
yeah,
they're just like they inspired this whole thing.
Yeah, they did.
So I just kind of wanted to thank them if they see it, I know I'm not on much.
Yeah. I see you on every now and then. I'll come on and I see you commenting. I'll say, "Oh, hi."
Yeah. So let's talk real briefly about, like, again, the merchandise that we wanted. Has there any been like maybe not necessarily Kamen Rider or Sentai merch that you've wanted?
I really want to get back into getting Godzilla toys.
Yeah, like the SH Monster Arts and stuff.
I'm talking like the 2002 Bandai Godzilla figures that had like the posability like this and the legs would move. They were kind of made of the same material as those Sentai and Rider rubber figures.
Oh yeah, the vinyl figures.
The vinyl, except they're actually posable.
Yeah, the vinyl figures are a lot of fun. It's really the only time I like a vinyl figure is when it's like a kaiju film or a. Man, I've actually been meaning to get back into that myself because those are fun little trading figures.
Mm-hmm. Because I actually used to have the whole miniature set of those vinyls, except for the tiny ones.
Yeah.
Boy, do I regret losing those. I had those back when I was 12. So back when you were at the age of not being responsible with your toys.
Yeah. Okay, one piece of merch that I want. And I'll never be able to get it because I will never spend this much on an article of clothing. But it's the Godzilla Sukajan.
What is this?
It's like, imagine a Letterman jacket made out of silk with a really elaborate embroidery across the back of it. It's spelled Sukajan.
Oh, dang. And it's $559, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This...
Oh, not that one in particular, but I do like that one. Something like that would also make me happy. Like,
that's
if it weren't for my...
Or
yeah, there's one that's like for 300 that has a silhouette. And if it weren't for the fact that I've already got my battle jacket, that would be my number one on the town jacket.
Uh-huh. Well, there's one figure I really want to get, and this is my first Godzilla figure, but I want to re-get it for the sake of memories. The 2002 Bandai Godzilla toy line vinyl figures of Burning Godzilla. That was my very first Godzilla toy. I got it at a KB Toys in 2004. And I don't know what happened to it, sadly. But I remember...
I've always wanted one of...
But I remember that exact year, what store I got it from, what it looked like, and what it was, and what year it was actually made in, everything. Because if you remember KB Toys,
yeah.
They would always have toys that were been on that you wouldn't see on the shelves since like any years, and they would still be there.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've been there, actually.
They ran out of business, sadly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Have you had the honor? Have you had the privilege of going to any Toys R Us's recently before it's closed?
Sadly, no, because
Anyone
there aren't
close?
any in my area.
What's the closest one to you? How far?
It's like, it's like a couple hours away from me.
Dang. You ever thought about taking a trip up there for the sake of it?
Nah, because like that's a lot of gas for just to go to
Ah,
a toy store. Like if it's already closed by the time I get there,
mm-hmm. It wouldn't be worth it.
yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
probably. Hmm?
so back on the subject of merch that we'd like.
Yeah.
Uh, have you heard of the Godzilla eggs?
Yeah, I've seen those before.
Yeah, it's the same shtick as the Godzilla, the Ultra eggs, but you know, Godzilla monsters.
I went on the special features of Godzilla 1998. They had a bunch of like promos for different like Godzilla commercials, Godzilla movies, and all that by Toho. And they had one of those Japanese commercials on the special features disc for the Godzilla eggs from the 90s. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. That and one of my friends had a King Ghidorah egg.
Um, I've been meaning to get into those too. I like the idea of trading figures, but
Mm-hmm.
okay, one thing that I think would be the shit to have, okay,
Yeah.
is just I don't know where I put it. I might actually adjust some of my sound system if I ever got it, but like one of the great big Ultraman figures.
Is it posable?
It's like a statue,
Okay.
but it's a cool statue.
Yeah. I'd like to if I ever get an Ultraman figure that big, I want the original Hayata Ultraman.
Yeah. Um. Well, what about you? Are there any like Godzilla, Ultraman toys, anything?
Well, my biggest desire is to have a Godzilla figure that is like the size of me, like my height, that I can just.
Yeah.
I need a bigger room for that, but to have that like just standing next to me, or maybe just get a Godzilla figure like this high that I can like just position right here and it's facing like my direction, something just like that. I want to go with like Showa era Godzilla specifically though, but if I have to, I'd go for Heisei.
Yeah. I guess I understand that. I mean, if you want a Showa era Godzilla, though, you really should go for it.
Mm-hmm. I like it's just his face looks. I know it looks sillier, but at the same time, it looks cooler in the Showa era. Though
Yeah.
I do like the Heisei Godzilla. He's had a few different looks throughout the Heisei era. But I like the one where you remember the one where you see him standing in front of Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
That version of Godzilla.
Ooh.
That
I
do you know which one I'm talking about?
I think I do. I think I remember seeing like a display of it or a sample piece.
Say Godzilla.
While you're looking that up,
Yeah.
yes, actually would like. I would like one of the SH Monster Arts figures,
Mm-hmm.
possibly of black and white Godzilla, because they actually paint it black and white.
All right. This one.
Yes, yes, I do know that one.
Showa Godzilla images. As far as Showa Godzilla goes, This one.
Yes. Friggin' kangaroo kicking.
Yep. Back when Godzilla could defy the laws of physics. And breathe on the ground and go up and then fly backwards. I think that's gonna be my new background image. My current background image my current screensaver is a fan made poster somebody did of Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh.
And it says God versus King.
I see.
Oh, you don't sound like you're very enthusiastic about it.
Okay, so if anyone actually tried to make that movie, can we just talk for a second about the source material that they'd be pulling from, where King Kong is apparently powered by electricity?
I think they're going to do their own thing with it. Have you seen Kong Skull Island?
No, not as yet.
Okay, in Kong Skull Island, it takes place in the 1970s, and it is confirmed that the Kong you see in that movie is the size of what you see is like the size you see, the version of Kong you see at that age in that movie is what you see in like the size of like Peter Jackson's King Kong and the original King Kong.
Yeah.
But you see the skulls of his parents, and they're like Godzilla size. So they're going to be making him the size of Godzilla, kind of like how Kong was the size of Godzilla in the original Godzilla versus King Kong.
That was King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, King Kong versus Godzilla. Okay. But, yeah, and so far as we've seen in that movie, he did not have any electric powers.
Yeah, that's the thing, too, is, like, the corniness is also what saved that movie. This is what I'm talking about, again, from, like, earlier on, where if you try to take something that goofy and try to make it serious, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of iffy on this movie?
If it ever, like, I know it's just a fan-made poster, but
no, the movie
I don't know
happening. The movie is happening. Comes out in 2020.
Oh.
That was a fan-made poster, but the movie is happening. It's in the legendary universe of the MonsterVerse of which is canon to Kong Skull Island, Godzilla, those two movies.
Okay.
And King Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra are going to be in Godzilla 2, which comes out next year. And then the year after is Godzilla versus King Kong.
I didn't care for the latest American version of Godzilla, so not really looking forward to it.
Okay. What was your complaint? Was it just the lack of Godzilla in the movie?
There wasn't enough Godzilla.
Well, it seems they're going to have a lot more Godzilla in the next movie because, I mean, the next movie is pretty much Destroy All Monsters. If you remember Destroy All Monsters, it was Godzilla, King Kong.
That was pretty good.
I know. It was Godzilla versus Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah.
Okay.
And that is what Godzilla 2 is going to be. It's pulling off the Destroy All Monsters story.
Rodan is actually one of my favorite kaiju.
Mm-hmm. The post-credit scene to Kong Skull Island was the main characters from Kong Skull Island, where they wake up and they're in a secret military bunker, and then people from Monarch, who were the organization you remember seeing in Godzilla. Yeah, the people of Monarch come in to debrief them on that King Kong was not the only giant monster. And they show like top secret profile images of that were playing on like a scan camera thing or a flap camera, and you see like cave drawings of King Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, and Godzilla, and then it's just very same image. It all zooms out into one big cave drawing of all of them together, and then the screen goes black, and then you hear King Kong's roar, and then Godzilla's roar going over it, thus teasing King Kong versus Godzilla and the Godzilla 2, which is going to be Godzilla King of the Monsters, is what the movie is going to be called.
That was a different film in the past, though.
Yeah, Godzilla King of the Monsters was the American name of the original Godzilla movie.
It was also the name of a kind of a not well structured video game.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's their working name. Godzilla King of Monsters or something like that.
Interesting.
Now, can you name any third-party kaiju movies that are worth checking out that aren't made by any main properties?
That's a tough one. Well, I can't think of any offhand that are live action.
Mm-hmm. And that aren't mainstream?
Yeah.
So please don't mention Attack on Titan.
Man, this is tough. I guess if I had to pick, it's not that it's not mainstream. If you're into Ultraman, you've heard of it, but a lot of people have not watched the Ultra Q Dark Fantasy.
Oh, that's what Ultraman. That came before Ultraman, didn't it?
No. Ultra Q came before Ultraman, but Ultra Q Dark Fantasy is like a modern revival of it. It's an anthology series with a bunch of different monsters.
Okay. Isn't Ultra Q or that one monster from Ultraman first that appears in the weird one with the claws like this, and it's all orange and has like a coral reef look to it and it has a sad face?
Yeah, well, that's an Ultraman, yes, but yeah, that's where he first appeared, as well as the Ultraman monster, Black King.
Okay, yeah, my favorite Ultraman monster is Bolton. That evil laugh. Can I please play the evil laugh?
Please do. Just very briefly.
Thank you. And then we will talk about it. Bolton laugh. Hold on. What the heck? I'm trying to Bolton laugh. All right.
Bolton is probably one of the most fearsome enemies in Ultraman.
Mm-hmm. It's weird how it works because Bolton is that monster that it considers itself one being, but at the same time being several. Or is it several beings but forms one being?
I forget the semantics of it actually. But the thing is about Ultra Q is it does actually inspire a lot of monsters like that.
Mm-hmm. Because Bolton's planet was destroyed, and its idea was to go to Earth and invade it for the sake of its race. And it explained that we live as we are one at the same time several.
Yeah, it was kind of like the opposite of Ultraman Belial,
mm-hmm.
where he had a bunch of monsters in one weapon.
Okay. But the two main monsters that are most memorable in Ultraman are Bolton and Bemler. Bemler being the very first kaiju he faces, and Bolton being the third, I believe, right?
I believe that's right.
Yeah. Because Bolton was the giant crab one that would shoot out fire and stuff. Fun fact, when they were filming Ultraman, did you know that for all the scenes of Bolton fighting, that was actually Bolton, what they had, they actually installed flamethrowers inside Bolton's claws. And that would be, and then right over here, the control the triggers it would be connected through into the arm over here. And then someone else would be controlling it to fire as he's destroying for scenes. But yeah, there was a flamethrower attached to his claws.
That's risky.
Yeah, well, the 60s filming.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other option was like a cheesy laser beam, wasn't it?
Probably.
So yeah, Ultra Q would be a suggestion, I think, for someone who wants a little something out of the way.
Okay. What about think I had it in my head a little bit ago. Oh, Gridman.
Gridman. Well, that's more of a show, but that is actually technically part of the Ultraman series, but it's not an Ultraman series, if that makes sense.
Is it canon to it, or made by the same people?
It's made by the same people, but it takes place in its own timeline.
Okay. Is Ultraman reference in there?
Not really. It takes place, as part of like the whole idea that the Ultraman do not exist in the same universe. Back before they started aligning everything.
Okay. Well, that does explain why Gridman looks like an Ultraman.
Oh, absolutely. He is functionally an Ultraman.
Mm-hmm. What about the Ultraman manga? Have you read that?
I have not.
I do suggest you give that a read. It is a sequel to the original Ultraman.
Okie doke. I think it's about a good time to start winding down for the evening.
Okay.
So let's ease back into So I've not been able to keep up with Kamen Rider, unfortunately.
I haven't either.
I can't wait to see what the next season's like. To be honest, Bill did not captivate me the way XA did.
I can agree. I fell out of it pretty fast. I mean, I fell out of it due to like school stuff, but I just had no motivation to go back to it.
Yeah.
Other than just watching the clips of it on YouTube, that's entertaining. But watching it as itself, I'm gonna buy it on DVD and watch it. It's just I want to watch it, but the effort. The only thing preventing me is the fact that the website I use to watch it is just a crap show now, or crap site now.
Yeah, so they're getting attacked from all angles.
I've been resulting other places. Like I downloaded BitTorrent to download my stuff from TV Nihon subs, which is the most suggested thing to do in terms of watching Toku. But for some reason, Build is kind of hard to get because until the whole series is complete, you have to download the episodes individually instead of as a group file.
Yeah, and I think it's because they expect you to be watching it episodically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been meaning to grab some region-free DVDs like Shin Kamen Rider.
Did I ever tell you where I got my Kamen Rider XA DVD box set?
No.
I use eBay. There is I know someplace in Malaysia. Hold on, let me get my box set. I'll show it to you. It's right here, actually. Kamen Rider X-Aid DVD box set comes in Chinese sub, English sub, and Malaysian sub. It is region free. Take out the case. Here's the back.
What kind of quality are we looking at, video-wise?
Oh, it's really good. It's just like what you'd watch on. It's just like what you see when you're watching on the computer. It's the exact same quality, I guarantee you. So very good.
I'm not so confident in the quality of the case, but I'm.
Oh, it's obviously photoshopped by an amateur. But let's be honest, Toei doesn't give a crap about foreigners when it comes to Kamen Rider and stuff like that.
So Kamen Rider makes its way to a few countries, but let's face it, they're not interested in making it a world market thing.
Yeah, so
they've tried twice in America, and it failed twice in America. Not necessarily because the show was bad. The first time it was because the show was terrible. But not necessarily because the second show was bad, but just because they've made it very clear that they don't want that, TV producers do not want Kamen Rider over here.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's safe to promote this now because Toei just doesn't care. So yeah, I get mine off of eBay. There's some company in Malaysia that burns these to discs and prints the thing on the discs, puts them in here. They have the complete series on there. Same with everything. This is the newest one they have out because the current series isn't done yet. But they have Gaim. They have them all English subbed.
Oh, and so I wanted to say this. We wouldn't pirate these if we had a choice, but this is the only way available to us to watch these.
Yes.
Toei, if you want to make money from this market, we'd be more than happy. Work out a deal with Crunchyroll. Toho managed it, and we've got Ultraman over here.
Oh, Tsuburaya, not Toho.
Tsuburaya, yeah, not Toho.
I wonder.
Tsuburaya did it. We've got.
Now I'm curious. Do you think part of it could be Saban just trying to keep it over there to keep all the focus on Power Rangers?
I wouldn't be surprised if such a business move or a business clause had been slipped in there. Mm-hmm. I'm not making any assumptions though.
I know this actually came up as a theory because remember Saban bought the rights licensed Power Rider, but they never did anything with it.
Yeah. And then, oh man, there's this whole shenanigans. I still don't understand how this is going to work out between Hasbro and Bandai. From what I understand, all it's going to mean is Bandai will still be able to make the toys, right?
Right.
And it will be Bandai of America making these toys.
Yes.
But we'll also be getting toys from the series that Bandai didn't make that were licensed by Hasbro's Japanese partner, Takara.
I'm gonna look at this like the Takara Hasbro thing, as in for Transformers we got the Hasbro versions of the toys and the Takara versions, and in Power Rangers case we'll have the Hasbro version and the Bandai versions, and the Bandai versions will stay in Japan.
I don't think Bandai is gonna give a lot of leeway. They've had some sketchy business in the past together.
Yeah, that's true.
Jetfire.
Hey, guys! I found this Valkyrie figure. It looks like a Transformer. Why don't we just not ask permission? And
well, essentially, they did get permission. They got permission for it.
Okay.
But when they started bringing Robotech over, Bandai's like, "Hey, wait a minute. This could affect toy sales." And here's the thing: believe it or not, Jetfire was not the first series to rip off the Valkyrie shape.
Okay.
Or to license it, I should say, to license it. The original one was actually a series called Converters that was designed to just kind of coast off the popularity of GoBots and Transformers.
Yeah.
Hoping that moms wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really
Just like,
interesting about the whole Macross the Robotech thing in the first place is the American producers absolutely want nothing to do with the Japanese version, refuse to release and will do anything in their power to keep the U.S. viewers from watching the Japanese version. You didn't know about that?
I did not, but that seems kind of ridiculous.
You ever wondered how Macross is so hard to come across in the U.S.?
True.
And any sign of Macross? I've read about this, and I've been told about this by various fans that at least earlier days of the internet, it's easier now due to how many people can get away with doing pirating stuff and all that. But whenever Macross related things are posted, like in their Japanese English sub, or posted on the internet, the owners of Robotech would do an instant copyright strike on it or whatever to maintain their licensing.
Of course. But anyway, yeah, the original Valkyrie toys or Valkyrie-like toys here in the West were actually by a smaller third-party transforming toy series. Anyway, I think this is a good point to wrap it up for the evening.
I agree.
Thank you all so much for watching. We'll try to make this movie marathon thing happen.
Yep.
Remember, tweet us some snacks at weekend_dojo. What should we try to eat for this marathon? Also, post pictures of your favorite tokusatsu merch if you've got it. And as always, I guess, well, Kenny, you're hosting. Why don't you play us out?
All right. See you next weekend, Weekend Warriors. And remember, comment below. Share us around. We could really use the attention since our lack of viewers right now. But we still do this regardless because we enjoy doing it.
Yes, we do. Thank you all so much for watching once again, and I'll see y'all later, Weekend Warriors.
All right. Bye, everybody.